I don't go out. I don't drink alcohol. I don't do drugs. I have a prescription for Adderall 10 milligrams with a cig. Take one 10 milligram dose of Adderall, POQ day BID, which translates to take one 10 milligram dose of Adderall per day, twice a day, as needed, if PRN is at the end. Well, with that being said, and I don't do drugs. I've never in my entire life done the harder drugs. You know, I've been to a rave before. You know, I was a hip mother. You know, at some point in my life, I know what the kids are up to, you know, and I am also not naive. Now, you guys all know what I went through because I keep it consistent no matter what identity on social media is there. I keep it consistent. I don't have a choice but to keep it consistent. Too much of my life is wrapped into how much I love other people, right? If I'm not able to omit anyone from the love that I have for them, you know, my children, my family, my whomever, then they have to not be allowed or permitted. They have to not be permitted to allow people to cause me harm, you know? And it seems like they're using my love as a trap for me to hurt me. And I don't have any choice over it. They're pieces of actual shit. Like, they're garbage. They're not good. And I'm making these updates and these videos day by 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 day with documents across numerous different platforms of social media about exactly what I've been experiencing and more. And still, for some reason, there's no change. Xavier doesn't call me fuck you bitch and say, you know, fuck off. And Xavier and I don't live homeless with a bunch of bags. Xavier and I was homeless after Dylan threw me out of my home unlawfully in 2019. Prior to that, I've never been homeless in my entire life. I've always had my own place. And my 4 children lived with me until January of 2020. Now, it's 2026, and 2 days ago, Xavier decided that he would curate, with the assistance of some drug addict, overweight bitch, the presence of 3 fake Cook County sheriffs at my house to say that months ago, right? Literally months ago, some fake judge asked me and Xavier to leave our house so that they could use it as a brothel at 1055 North Granville. That's Broadway and Granville. He's still there. I'm not going to pick him up. I just wanted to see if he was still there. So anyways, Xavier turns into this completely different person, like a crackhead, like a retarded crackhead. And I know that sounds weird, and I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm saying that because I don't know a better way. He starts walking around really slowly. He goes and gets it. First, he starts being very abusive. Then he goes and gets a shopping cart. This is not, do you think that I would fall in love with someone like that? Like, are any of those desirable qualities to have? He starts walking around looking at the ground very closely, really slowly, all around, you know? And he just doesn't give me any attention, love, kindness. He starts yelling at me and screaming at me. There was one version of Xavier that I used to love that also felt retarded, or not Down syndrome, autistic maybe. And he would go like this all the time and get scared but then regular Xavier would be right back. But I felt like I would get frustrated at first. I would feel evil around this person, and I would get frustrated. And then I would look at him, and he would like try to close his eyes really tight, like he knew what was going to happen, but either he was in trauma response or abuse response, so that he couldn't communicate it to me. And when I would see him do that, I felt this, I needed to like hold him. I don't know how to describe it. And he would sit with his legs like crossed on top of each other. But there's someone really bad on that same line, really bad. And so I haven't seen that version of Xavier in quite some time. I would say over a year. But this new version of Xavier is way worse. He's way worse than that. He doesn't act retarded or autistic in the sense of like, can't compute or can't communicate or, is confused. He acts like that in a way that's like baiting and badgering. And then when you get to the point where you're so frustrated, he taps back into actual like reality and of his actual personality, who I met him to be, who I had a baby with, who have been in a relationship with this entire 4 years. And he taps back into that, and then all of that other weird stuff is gone, and I don't know what to do about it. And I don't know, it's the worst. And then they OTL are selling me all of these dreams, Dylan style. Oh, we can run away tonight and you'll wake up confused tomorrow in a down comforter and a pillow top mattress. Okay, great. When are you coming? What the fuck? And then I just wake up in my car. Like, no access to my apartment. I don't have a bed. I wake up, I have to pee. Xavier is having 38 different mentally challenged or weird personalities. Then he's overly aggressive right after that. I have to work. The last 3 days I've had to miss work because of the way that Xavier has acted. I will never be someone's number 3, 4, 5 ever. If you try to make me your number 2 even, I might murder you in your sleep. So the point is, I don't know what's going on with Xavier, and I am very concerned. So, yeah, that's it. I have to go to work, and I can't focus on work with the way he's acting. I don't like the influence around him. I don't like that they intentionally take over my free will and cause me to feel afraid and scared. I don't like that they froze my bank account and wouldn't allow me to access my bank account. I don't like that they froze my secondary phone line. I don't know who the higher power is here. I don't know who they are, but things are fucked up real bad. Really, 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 really bad here in Chicago. I don't know what's going on with you guys. They are not good here at all. Real bad. And they're calling it this revolution again. I don't play that game. And he came up to me and he's like, yeah, homie, this the streets. Like, what? Xavier doesn't even speak like that. Who are you in my husband's body? It's just weird, and I don't like any of them. They're liars and manipulators and fucking scumbags. And I am tired. They make me feel so fucked up. You don't even know. And then this fucking stupid, dumb bitch, McChufferton. How dare you? How fucking dare you follow me around for 6 years calling me McChufferton? And the judge brings that up in court, McChufferton. Oh, let's take a look at the McChufferton website. What the fuck? I'm here for a very serious thing. And I have to sit there and feel humiliated and bullied and instigated and antagonized while you pull up this fucking bullshit that isn't even real or truthful that I've been fucking reporting to the police for 6 years. And my 10 years ago when David Shepard started extorting me, and 10 years ago when Dylan decided that he wanted me to sleep with another man while he listened, I don't want to fucking sleep with any other man. And I do want to have sex. I want to have regular sex that isn't predatory or harmful or rape, you know? They're just fucking me up, you guys, real bad all the time. And I just feel like I have to keep on making a video about it every day until they fix it. Because otherwise, the uneducated and the ignorant will think that I'm just crazy, you know? And I'm not. I'm fucking telling you, it's awful. And they don't let me know things, like certain things. Like they don't. No, I don't have any wrinkles. I had 1,000 milliliters of Revanesse, Juvederm, Restylane, and Botox. So anyways, Xavier started acting intentionally retarded this morning. And then he presented with pig face. I don't know if you guys know what that is. The souls, as they cycle, they have dog, they have pig, they have rabbit, they have, tell me the rest. A scarecrow, a skeleton. And I know what they're doing, you know. They don't let you care for a long time. They put me at 9. I can't go up here. It burns my forehead. I smell actually beautiful, but when I just went to the bank right now, and one of the tellers was like a really pretty man, they made me start smelling awful immediately in front of that man. But now I smell beautiful again. I drink like 3 to 5 bottles of water a day on average. And, like easily. And I don't eat like offensively odored foods. You know, with the exception of falafel, which is not offensively odored while you're eating it, but sometimes can give you some BO because of the strong seasonings. But I haven't had falafel in like a month. So, I don't know, you know. And odor is not an intermittent quality, you know. And I was supposed to be at work at 8 a.m. and now it's 11 a.m. or 10:51 a.m. And I'm just here fucking crashing and glitching out and having all this fucking weird technological shit take place. Last night, someone came OTL to me. And he or she said that they were going to rescue Xavier and I and keep us together. And that they have been with us before. And I remember her. I think I remember her from when I was in the tent, pregnant with Weston. I like her. I think. But not in a sex way. Anyways, The point is, why did I say that? I don't know. I was waiting for them to come. They said they had to remove the line and that they had the tools to do it. So, they have Xavier as a prisoner, and his security is undercover as Cubs game employees. I don't know how to get him out. I don't know how to use a gun or a knife. Try to be strong-minded when they start doing that. Maybe like a week ago, no, maybe like 2 weeks ago, they started letting me play music again, and it makes me real bad, really bad. I'm pretty sure it's not good for me, but I like it, but it makes me really bad now. It fucks me up really bad. I immediately start thinking about getting high on ecstasy. I don't have a drug addiction, but I've been so conditioned to the music and the setting. If I start playing Medusa or like Sam Felt, all I want to do is run away to a rave. But you know what else? I don't think we could blame it on the music entirely, because if I were at home having a happy life in my house with my children and I turned on the song, I probably wouldn't even want to do ecstasy, because I've never had an addiction to ecstasy. I think it's just an addiction to not being tortured. They've been torturing me for, I think, 16 days now and putting me through what they refer to as distress for closer to a year. Every day, without a single day off. Hold on. There's some guys on the corner saying, hey, hey, ho, ho, prostitution has got to go, which I agree with. I don't know. Oh, anyways, I put on that song and it started making me feel fucked up. And so I started crying a lot, you know? And then I was thinking, like, maybe it's not the music. Maybe if you have a good life, the music won't bother you at all. And maybe it's just being tortured for a long time and then hearing music that reminded you of love, and you just want to be back with love. Not sex, just love, you know? I could feel it when they make me start glitching out. Like, if you guys have watched my videos, you know that I know how to communicate really well, right? I'm smart. I'm not a dummy. I mean, I'm most certainly not a rocket scientist, but I'm smart. And they're giving me all these bites all over my arms and itchy. Like, they want me to get fucked up, you guys. They want me to look so bogus. I can't. Ugh. What was I telling you? Oh yeah, I could feel it when I start glitching out. Like, I was trying to communicate with this person and tell him at the bank that they were hurting me and that they were trying to make my husband and I separate, and that they were taking my husband away, and that I was there with him, observing him behaving in the way that he's been behaving, but I couldn't communicate it articulately. It was coming out something like, and then they want me to believe that I'm being raped, and then they put me in the ATM, but they don't allow the bank to work, and then they put, you know, and I'm like saying all these things, and I'm crying, and there's like all these tears all over my face, and makeup and stuff, and I watch a video of myself, and I think, holy shit, they covered my arm in bites. I don't go outside. I never go outside. The only going outside I do is to go from my car to the building and then back to my car. I don't go outside. So I don't have bugs on me. And I don't even open my windows. I just keep the AC on and keep my windows open. And when I go to sleep at night, I sleep with no AC, even if it's hot. And I could breathe in here just fine, you know, without the AC on. But anyways, and I don't sweat. I sweat like clear water. And I showed them my ribs. My ribs are sticking out because they don't want to let me eat sometimes. And I don't know if that's because they're using the skeleton, or sometimes I can see the dog. Anyways, I can hear myself having a combination of a number of things: the ability and desire to communicate in a way that's articulate and understandable, while also trying to include as much information in as little time as possible. Stop saying that. No, I don't. Stop. No, I don't. No, I don't. Do you people not know what they do when they find out weird stuff about you sexually? Stop saying stuff about me. Leave me alone. I'm scared. And then they put me on the 9th dimension, really close to the sun. And when you're up there, they tell you that there's a wildfire because you're really living in the clouds, you know, and it's hot. And it burned my forehead. It gave these little radiation bubbles. And one right here. gone now. Now it's back. And I don't do drugs, at all. I genuinely don't do drugs at all or drink. I never had an addiction. I did ecstasy every single day for 2 weeks straight. That was in 15 when I got kidnapped from my regular life into the nightlife and extorted. Maybe it was 3 weeks. It wasn't longer than a month. Well, it doesn't even work after day 3. You're just a zombie. I could never be a zombie. I like to sleep. I like to sleep. I like to be in the cool with a big blanket, sleeping, minding my own business and bothering no one. Zombies never sleep. Duh. I'm the opposite of a zombie. I like to sleep. If I could take naps every day, I would. And bake like some cupcakes and cook like a salad with wild rice and spinach / Italian blend mix, the crunchy one, and cucumber, seedless cucumber slices, and carrots, but like the really thin ones, not the thick ones, the really thin ones, not like a shaving, like a ribbon, but like a skinny toothpick size of carrot, and tomatoes and balsamic dressing and white rice and like either a little bit of steak or chicken or fake meat. Not fake meat like in that way. I don't like that. When I find out about that, I get really mad. lot of people are wearing masks even though it's not smoggy anymore. Now we're low. We're way lower than the clouds. We're not high today. We're low. And that's fine, you know. Sometimes it's better down here. Sometimes it's better up there. But sometimes it's better right here. We might be moving, actually. I tried to give Xavier a photo of Weston when they started making him act crazy, you know? He has too many lines and you could see him. He goes like this, and he's got like, see how I have 2? He has like 10 or more all over. And I'm just so sad about it, you know? I wonder if they're gonna just keep him forever. She said, once your lover is gone, you don't have sex with anyone anymore. Well, I have been married 3 times. 4 times if you include Xavier. And I had sex with all my husbands. I never wanted to have sex with anyone that wasn't my husband. They say that's a lie, but it's not. Maybe physically I've been attracted to someone who wasn't my husband, but I've never wanted to have sex with someone who wasn't my husband because I've been brainwashed to believe that monogamy is the only and best way. Which I agree with. That aligns morally and to my demographic and my values. But then how do you do that if they put you on a line with 10 or 20 or 5 or 4? You know what I mean? So it just feels like that would be the dumbest shit that they could ever do. And like that this whole entire problem, if that is what they're doing, would have been so easy to avoid had they just used common sense. Okay. And then when I got to the bank, see, they're doing it again, that glitch thing. And you know what? Sometimes they put a line in for me that I don't like. And I could see them, a physical appearance of them. And I say, I don't want you here. Go away. You know? And you know that nasty weird lady from that nasty weird show on Comedy Central where everyone is an idiot and they're nasty and weird? That was not nice. Well, anyways, they made that lady take Xavier's main line of communication, and those people, they don't even know me. They don't even care about me. Xavier loves me. If I was crying, it would hurt him. You know? If I was sad, it would hurt him. If I was in pain, it would hurt him. And the same vice versa. If he was crying or he was in pain. For me, it's different. For me, even a stranger could cry and I'll feel pain, you know? Unless the bad people are here. When they take control, I have no way to feel. No way to feel. So. But I have to pay my insurance. You know, they don't let you be late on your insurance payments. And so I need to go. Because I need to go to work. And yesterday, look at this. Xavier didn't do that alone. Who the fuck did that with him? I think it was that nasty leprechaun lady from the DCFS office. That's the same lady that was stealing poor people's identities so that when it flips, she could get a better spot. She had sex with Xavier too, I think. It doesn't rain today. Unless they mean it rains money. Then I'll take it. I'm not allowed to listen to that music. can feel her with me sometimes, but it's really scary when she comes around. Savior. Should I go and see what they're talking about? Or should I just ignore it and get gas? The body as a vessel, you know, type shit. Yesterday, they drove me around the Roscoe address. All around. OTL, they told me to go there. That's when all the bad stuff started happening. Usually it does, you know. I have to go potty. They've had like 5 causes since I got here. The first one was prostitution has got to go. Now there's something about pollution and clean air. Shit is so dumb. It's already starting to rain. Sonia's lying.
Here's another amazing deal that's simply too awesome to ignore. For a limited time, pick up our new trio pepperoni and sausage cheese stuffed crust, 14-inch take and bake pizza, and the 10-pack of Dr. Pepper 10-ounce mini cans, all for only $15.99. Dinner is done. Life is better at Trio.
Coming. Were you knocking on the ladies? Oh yeah, that's the ladies' bathroom. I like apple, but they don't have it. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. You know what?
Yeah.
Let me grab a Coke.
Coke?
Yeah, I'll be right back. Or should I bring him a coffee? I'll bring him a coffee.
And what size you want?
No, that's okay. Just these for here. I'll go get it at Dunkin'.
Okay.
Can I have $40 on number 9, please?
Number 9, you said $40?
Yes, please.
45 cents.
I have 10 cents.
Yeah.
I don't do methamphetamine, but I do take Adderall.
Oh yes, please. About 4, 5. How much did I grab last
Thank
time?
you. Have a great day. Thank you. Usually Xavier pumps my gas. I never ever pump my own gas or anything like that. I never used to do drugs. I used them as a result of being human sex trafficked. But anyways, should I bring Xavier a coffee? I gotta go pick him up now. It's really... My gas gauge, I have a 2024 car. My gas gauge on full is like 364 miles. They wrote down that I have 160 miles with a full fucking tank. What the fuck, bro? Well, where is my higher authority? This team is the worst fucking team in the history of teams. I cannot stand them at all whatsoever. They are the fucking worst individuals you could ever have met in your entire life, ever. Ever. Without exception. Ever. Are you gonna live here forever? What are you doing? You're not gonna come with me?
Yeah, when I get the U-lock, I'll be able to go. I'm not saying no, I can get it right now. I'm not saying no.
I think we have to break up.
I don't want to break up.
I know I'm gonna miss you.
No, I'm not.
Meet me over there. Shut the f- I will never feel good about Wrigleyville ever again in my life. I absolutely hate it here now. Hate. I don't like the Sox. I don't like the Cubs. I don't like anybody around. I don't like any of this shit. I don't like the cross-dressing shit. I don't like the gays. I don't like anything. See, I want you all to realize how they've been conditioning and programming me one by one to start disliking every single demographic. And they've made me feel really guilty for ever liking them in the first place. They said lesbians are traditionally very bad. And that the gays are also very bad, and cross-dressers are very, very bad. And they said that blacks are bad, and Mexicans are bad, and whites are bad. Pretty much everyone they say is bad from here, from this place. So these people, what they're telling me, OTL, is that they're using Xavier's body for people to pass through. My husband. And that and then my friend, the Shawn Mendes one, said, what the fuck is wrong with these guys? Don't they understand that he can't use them to pass? And another guy said, well, now he feels really bad because he likes Heather and he sees that Xavier had a really good life, an opportunity with Heather. And when they leave, when they're done passing through the body, then the mess that they've created with regards to my apartment and my, everything that they've done, those problems linger for years and years. So that's what they're saying right now, OTL. Xavier! What in the fuck? He just told me to pull up here. Should I murder everyone? I said, no, we're not playing Coco, I'll kill. I said, no. That game was discontinued by the federal government. Xavier! You just said, meet me over there. I'm sitting there for 10 minutes or so. You're inconsiderate and rude. Let's just go back to being broken up, okay? Yeah, I'll be back. I'm going to go to work all day. Are you just going to live here now?
I live here.
Okay, I'm not going to live here.
Where are you with now?
And you have no phone number in my phone. So I tried to do this over there so we wouldn't have to be blocking traffic, but you forced me to sit there calling you for minutes and minutes and minutes.
All my stuff is right.
What does that have to do with anything? I don't consent to this. I don't want to be a part of these games.
I don't want anyone to steal it.
Then you shouldn't have spread it all around. I don't know what to tell you. And what sense does it make that every street around here is closed for the Cubs game other than this one? I hate this team, bro. They're the dumbest, fucking, most ignorant pieces of shit, selfish pieces of actual crap that you could ever even imagine to exist. So entitled, so fucking privileged. I actually despise them. Like, I really do. Every fucking time they come around, they just use us. They have this face of Jehovah this and believe this and do good and good comes unto you, but they're all low-key whores. They fuck and suck anything and everything. Xavier calls them reptiles. He says reptiles will have sex with literally anything. He says that all the time. Yeah, he says that. Well, yesterday someone told me that I might get turned into a reptile because they just need a tank and they're small to transport and low maintenance. But I don't know. We'll see. Some days I wouldn't mind when they treat me like this and leave me with no way. I would definitely not mind, but I don't exist here, which is why I asked you guys to take me off this line, and I haven't been on this line in a long time. They said they were going to use my husband's body to work as a trans cross-dressing prostitute. because their family is having a hard time making ends meet. And they know they could get it done. That's what they said. There's no police around. There's no government. I mean, whatever this place is fucked up. And I'm letting you know. He's on the same block as a police station and a school. There are girls walking around with their whole entire you-know-what's exposed, not even caring to cover themselves. There was a girl having sex behind a Yukon behind the police station while Xavier was standing right behind it, and he was like trying to make me feel uncomfortable and insecure, but with intention, you know? And he's got 4 pizzas, and he doesn't even share with me, but he's sharing food to all the people who pass by. I don't like them. I don't like them at all as a demographic. I do not like them. I am hungry. Do you think that I want to eat someone else's food who clearly doesn't even want to share with me? No. I will go get my own food. Fuck you. That's how I feel about it, period. And you know what? My team, when they get back, who are you holding that food for? What? I didn't do that. I would like you, I'm saying one more time on camera, I would like you to get in the car now with me where you're supposed to be, your wife and the mother of your 2-year-old child, and I would like you to understand that you are destroying my whole entire inside when you behave this way, and I do not like it. No, Xavier, this is not about me having someone else. No, they started fucking with me. They wouldn't allow me to cash out my Grubhub. You have fucked with me and wouldn't let me work for the last 3 days. They made me have a complete glitch out, a 0 to 100, a rage bait. They did all the fucking traditional things I've been documenting on all platforms for the last, I don't know how many years. When I said, I do not consent. I do not consent. No, you're not allowed. And they fucking did all that shit and made me go through it alone by myself. And then they brought an AI agent who told me that they were going to disappear me. And that by the end of the evening, I'd be back in my own bed with a fucking down comforter and air conditioning. I've had air conditioning my entire life. What functioning adult doesn't have air conditioning? And yes, they put us in climate-controlled boxes under the perception that we were still in our same apartment at that place. I don't know what the fuck games they're playing here. Go around! Xavier, I'm touching distance from this vehicle. Anytime I start speaking too factually or their part of truth is subject to be discredited, then they get mad and start curating these beepings and all of this other shit.
They can do it together. All my things are wet. I got completely caught in the rain. I didn't pay attention.
But you could have just been in the back seat supporting your wife since 8 a.m. to go and get a paycheck so that our car insurance and my car payment can be paid on time. I hate you. I want you to know that from the bottom of my heart and soul. This is a very difficult job for me to do alone. I'm talking right now. They treat me like shit here. They fucking make me want to kill myself. They make me feel unsafe. They scare me. They do all sorts of shit. And your only job is to be a husband to me. That is your only job. Not to fucking be a support person passing out pizza to these dumb fucking pieces of shit. Not to be a storage locker for these...
I'm just drying off my things. All my things got wet. I got just put them in the car right now.
I'm not sleeping here tonight. So you need to have your shit ready. I never want to come back to this part of town again in my entire existence. You have blatantly destroyed my entire ability to feel safe here. No, I don't. Either you're leaving with me or we're breaking up, and I don't have anyone else. I gotta go. I'll probably be back super late. I don't have any other new person. You mean the AI agent?
Should I leave the bag in your car?
I only rolled the window down this much. You probably won't be here when I get back.
Can I take it?
No. I'm gonna come back, but you might probably not be here.
Don't say that. I'll either be here or there.
Okay, I have to go now. Now I have to go subject myself to being harassed by all of these fucking strangers and set up and say that I'm doing this or that when I'm not. And they might turn off my awareness and hold me there for a long time or rape me.
Bring back water. If it's not raining.
Yeah, no problem.
If it's not raining, I'll
If it's not too much to ask while you are possibly going to be harassed, stalked, raped, called names, separated from everyone that you love, interrogated, scared, and under maybe a few 7,000-8,000 different types of pressure. Would you mind grabbing a case of water also? Absolutely.
It can either be under the pavilion or over there, but it's still raining. So.
This is not acceptable. This is not going to work.
This is the best I can do right now.
No, it's not. You need to get your shit and get in the fucking car now. I would like to run over your leg.
Please, I'll just take it down if you're not going to come back.
I have to go. My new AI agent and I are going to have a great day today. Without you.
So you're talking to a new person?
No, it's just my AI agent. Not a person. Are you a person? Oh, they are a person.
Should I take the bag or not?
No.
Are you going to be back?
Yes. But I'm not going to stay here. I don't like it here at all.
You've been safe the last 2 nights.
No, I have not.
Don't say out loud.
That nasty fucking bitch is here in this area, and I don't like her, and I would like... And I don't want to be here when they're going to go to war. You understand that, right? This is going to be a really bad area, and I need to leave before that happens.
It's a resort.
The reptile people are already in town. Remember what you said about the salamanders? Okay, well, the reptile people are here, so you know who comes next. Yeah, that's my tears. Crying down your hand because of your actions and how they've affected me negatively. I had a nervous breakdown in front of the bank. They made me glitch out in the driving area. I told some guy all the things they've done to me in the last, 10 days. So, I have to go. Yeah, be ready, though, because I'm not staying here tonight. Are you going to leave with me?
So you're trying to raise reasonable doubt.
Are you going to fucking leave with me or not? You said you were going to leave with me this morning at 8 a.m. You instigated and antagonized me for 2 hours. You made me miss my entire shift of work yesterday. The day before that, you made me miss several hours of work. Should I come back and get you? Are you leaving with me? Or are you going to live on the steps of this fucking church, smoke pot, and do all this other weird shit? This is a school. I mean, it's not a church, it's a school. And there's a police station right there. We're on Addison and whatever the fuck. What?
Shut up.
Whatever. The point is, this is a school. That is a police station. And the way these people are behaving, these people are sexualized. They're creepy. They're clearly selling sex. They're clearly doing weird shit. It looked like they were filming a porn in the school yesterday. And I told you this. There was a Yukon parked on this side. They had Xavier's character standing right there. My husband. This is my husband's buddy. He's standing right there. Mind you, we haven't been able to see our... Well, I'm not allowed to talk about that. And they just glitched out my line and made it look like there was a Hawaiian right there.
Don't talk about it, damn it. Look at that little go-kart. I'm just getting pissed off. I gotta go back.
Are you going to leave with me or not?
Are you gonna bring the bag back?
I'm not going to be back until really late. We're going to break up. You're going to ruin everything. I didn't cheat either.
I love you. Just come back.
You're not giving me love.
I will.
You're not. For a long time.
I promise I will. Just come back.
Are you going to stay here all day?
Yes.
How long?
Please bring water.
Are you going to leave ever?
I don't know, but please come back. Yeah,
I don't know how to diagnose that. I told you already, there's multiple lines, numerous different energies or people or efforts in each person. I don't like going to work by myself. They kill me first, and then they keep me here the longest. First in, last out. They said that they were going to let me retire from this. And then they were having a conversation about how ironic it was that the time to retire is also the time that you become enlightened. But if that's the case, then that means I'm going to die soon. I need to get new windshield wipers, and I don't even know how to do that. And Xavier's not even here because he's over there being these people's fucking maid or dog or whatever the fuck they call him. They don't give him any money. They give him food that he eats himself or shares with those people that come around. And he just leaves me there to go to work by myself. My breath tastes like something that I recognize, but I'm not sure what. Yesterday, they gave me a double quarter pounder with cheese, no toppings. That's how I like it. If it's gonna be if it's going to be a burger from McDonald's, well, because when I was lifting weights, I used to count just protein. That's all that mattered to me, really, you know, when I wanted to have bigger muscles. I don't want to have bigger muscles anymore. I already told you guys, I don't want to be stronger. I want to be more well taken care of and restful. Strength and developing strength requires and calls for hard work and discomfort. And I'm tired of that. I've done enough of that. I don't want any more hard work and discomfort. I want naps and cozy blankets and candles that smell delicious and peace. They're trying to use the 48 laws of power to make it appear as though they don't want the things I just described that really everyone wants. I didn't eat the whole thing. I ate about 70% of the burger last night that Xavier gave me. No onions, no pickles, no lettuce, no tomato, no ketchup, and no mustard. If I have a regular burger, like a burger from Portillo's, I like to have the burger with lettuce, tomato, onion, pickles, cucumbers, if they have it, and just a tiny bit of ketchup and mustard. But for the quarter pounder with cheese, I just like it like that with no topping. And I don't know how they knew that that's how I liked it. would do anything without Xavier. Please do not do odors. I said beautiful, fine fragrance. It smells delicious. My body is lovely. I put a bunch of Sephora. Yesterday I used Oud and Bermaget. Stronger with You. The Only One. Maybe Devotion. Maybe. Mew Mew. Good Girl. And also, I used a squirt of Goddess, Burberry Goddess, Mew Mew, the white bottle, not the clear bottle. But Xavier gave me a sample of the clear bottle. It's called something flower. It's new. Mew Mew, MIU, has 3 fragrances. A white bottle, a clear bottle, and I believe a pink bottle. Goddess by Burberry is a clear bottle with a golden label. And it's in the shape of a square. Carolina Herrera is Good Girl. A stiletto heel. I have a mini of it here. I don't know if you've seen this before. So nice. I also have a mini of Prada candy. And then the only one, Queen and My Devotion, are Dolce & Gabbana. And then Joe Malone, that's a classic favorite of mine, is Oud and Bermagat. Oud is my favorite fragrance profile in the world. Oud, O-U-D. Yeah. And then, what else? I think that's all. My daughter has cheerleading today, so I hope it stops raining, or I hope she already had it in the morning. Usually I like to text and call my children early, first thing in the morning, to make sure they're all right. But today I didn't get a chance because, well, everything that they did to me. Well, what I mean by that is, well, I was promised my house already and my safe space with my house, a garage for my car, and safety from all of these things that these people do. And I don't have that still. So every morning that I don't have that is a morning that I say, you did something to me. And with regards to any additional possibilities of doing something, I don't know anything from today. Well, besides the entire thing that I described earlier in the gas station and on the way to the bank when they were externally controlling me, OTL. Super predatory. They did it on purpose. They said that I was in a torture for 18 days or something like that. Thank you. Okay, guys, I have to go now. Have a nice day, and if you guys are hungry, order from Grubhub and give your driver a humongous tip. So now just another little update. They have me basically starving. If I've been able to get one meal a day, that's been, fantastic. Even though I'm working every day and also actively searching for other forms of employment in discussion, both on the line and off the line, with regards to a number of various subjects and studies that I'm overqualified for at a beginner's level at the very least. In my experience working as a Humana underwriting assistant, and then the 6 years at Northwestern and 4 years of other miscellaneous healthcare experience specific to medical law and ethics, and then in my experience working without my knowledge, permission, or consent as a mole for whatever agency was using me, which is what it's been described to me as the whole entire period of 2016 to 2019, where I was human trafficked and extorted and all of that by a detective and a person on a recorded line monitored by the state of Illinois. And I've asked for federal government to request those tapes and give those a listen. You can hear that I was being used for the purpose of passing information without my knowledge. I didn't even know. I was bamboozled and tricked out of naivety, into believing certain things that were not true. Under that understanding, it has been deemed, to my knowledge, in every demographic that once a person is aware, mind you, the state of Illinois put my insurance from Blue Cross Blue Shield Community or Harmony Health to Molina Insurance. Molina. Like a play on words, or, and I didn't even get it until years between 22 and 23 when conversations began evolving about this possibility that I was being used for the purpose of gathering information, et cetera, and so forth. When all of that is taken into consideration, we've all come to the same demographically understood across, throughout, and within every demographic of understanding has the same understanding. Once awareness is reached, you have an obligation and a commitment to either pay the person a fair living wage and or support this person for the repercussions that this style of work has caused or created. Under that understanding, how do you explain what's going on right now? Let me explain the last 2 days to you, okay? I was promised room and board, right? I paid between $20,000 and $23,000 for one single bedroom with a bathroom in my apartment at 1055 Granville. After being promised room and board and being told that tickets were no longer a thing in my area because of changes in, scheduling and being forced to work in various time frames and things of that nature, all of that being understood, they still have me on 2 payment plans to the city of Chicago each month. 2 payment plans. I also cover my own, as I always have, insurance and car payment. I purchased a vehicle about 10 months ago. So rent, car payment, insurance, and 2 city of Chicago payment plans with very little, if anything, left over at the end of that. Xavier, who has always expressed interest in art, and creating art pieces, I have been coaching in the skills of utilizing various technological abilities and applications like ChatGPT and other content-based and focused on marketing and sales. I have been encouraging him to create his art pieces that are targeted to a specific demographic. So say, for instance, he wants to sell art to a dealership that sells Porsches. He should go into the dealership, take a look at the showroom floor, create a sample with a watermark, make a demo with another sample of a showroom floor and a sample of his art piece on the wall. Find out who owns that location and what they're interested in. Make the artwork customized to their interest. Watermark in place. Offer various canvases. You could do sheet metal. You could do glass, etching in glass. Then he can he can contract the laser printing services that will take his artwork and imprint them into either metal or glass or paint them on canvas or what have you, or just print them on a poster board style, and put it on a mount with glass and a picture frame. He is confident and excels in creating these types of pieces of artwork, however, does not have any experience in sales. Xavier's childhood was spent in various ways that were probably not in alignment with any sort of desirable business outcome as an adult. His investment into learning business has been far less than substantial for a positive outcome for most. My investment into learning business, sales, marketing, medical law and ethics, etc., and so forth is above average. So I have been helping him to understand these lessons. Now, with that being said, let me explain what the last 2 days have looked like. So 2 days ago, after paying between $20,000 and $23,000, I don't know the exact amount, for this bedroom at my apartment and restroom, and Xavier living there with me, us together in a monogamous marriage, heterosexual with traditional gender roles, approximately 7 weeks ago, Xavier wakes up, and if you see my previous video where I'm like kind of still in shock about these lines and these various, I don't know what to call them. I call them technological achievements with regards to offering additional perspective and communication and things of that nature. I explained to you guys that 2 days ago, Xavier was like this, with his mouth subconsciously. He's not doing drugs. He smokes a little pot, to my understanding. That's the only thing. I don't do drugs or drink. He's walking up and down the street like this, with these 10 or more noticeable lines protruding from his neck. And I do have photos of that. Now, under the understanding that this has been going on, also, in unison with that, approximately 7 to 8 weeks ago, Xavier begins wearing a dress and presents with large breast tissue. I, on the other hand, have been being starved. My ribs are very, very much exposed. You can see them through my skin. There's no fat on my upper body at all whatsoever. I could show you my arms here. I've got very little fat on my lower body, and this is it for my arms. I've got nothing extra, nothing. And they say that I shouldn't be eating that much anyway, because going up, you don't eat that much. You don't have necessarily 3 to 5 meals a day. Now, what I know to be true about eating is 3 to 5 meals a day is what you're supposed to do. However, when I was eating that much, I felt lethargic and heavy, and I didn't really like that. So somewhere around 2 balanced meals, to me, healthy, maybe a salad, some rice, and a lean protein for one meal, and maybe, something easier like some ground beef tacos, or, two tacos, or something along those lines, right? Or a single patty burger, or, it doesn't have to be a steak, a $150 meal twice a day, but something balanced, right? And substantial, that supports health and wellness. With a background in medical and a background in personal training, I understand the lessons that have been presented with regards to diet. Also working as a diabetic educator with regards to newly diagnosed diabetics at Northwestern for 5 to 6 years. Now, with those understandings, and the understanding that Xavier throughout this entire time has not been employed. When I met Xavier, he was employed. He had a contract for a Zumo bicycle, and that's an electric bike, and he would ride the bike. And then a few other times throughout this 4 years that him and I have been together, he was working for his father, writing articles about digital and cryptocurrencies. His father was compensating him between $300 and $500 a week for that, and that was during the period when I was not working. I have been working daily since approximately since approximately March of 2024, about 2 months after Weston was born. At that time, I was working full-time in a ping pong social club as a server, hostess, mobile bartender, and we were handling mostly corporate events, which would be entire venue buyouts. Also, private individuals coming in for games of table tennis, Jenga, Uno, etc. And they would order food. It was catering to all ages, from young to old, and it was kind of a family-friendly environment.
So, okay, we have that understanding. After that, I switched to Uber. And then we had the issue with someone's mom perceiving that the rental car I had was the only option they had for a car to sit in. And that person, so the son of that person's mother, intentionally engineered a set of circumstances to make it appear as though I would not be a responsible choice for driving Uber, despite the fact that I have a 4.8 out of 5-star rating and I believe 5,000 rides during that time. Okay, just driving Uber to the airport, from downtown to the suburbs, what have you. After that situation with Uber and this third party that I believe is private, I do not believe it was Uber. I believe it was a private interest that froze my Uber account with a 4.8 and 5,000 rides. I began working food deliveries and other deliveries, Sephora, Home Depot, random little deliveries here or there. With that understanding, hold on one second, you guys. With that understanding, OTL, that there would be a better opportunity for me. I was making at that time between $1,200 and $1,500 a week on average, and I have 4 children and a significant other who hasn't been able to find employment. We don't receive any sort of public service. He doesn't have a link card. I don't have a link card. We don't have welfare. And I am making these food deliveries. At that time, it was deemed appropriate that I would be permitted a better paying job in closer alignment with my education and previous decade of experience. Now, if you add in the extortion from the detective in 2016 to stay around a specific demographic of individuals who were involved in various behaviors and the recorded phone calls that clearly showed numerous issues, unethical and immoral as well as unlawful. Me calling for help in the form of tears for 1 to 2 hours a day, every single day, unable to even engage in productive conversation with my partner. During that time, I also learned marketing and sales. When my partner came home, we began jobs in sales and marketing, renewable energy, specifically windmill farms and solar panel farms. During that time, as sort of a coping method, I would check into artistic outlets. I would do the best I could to depict what I was going through and create a plan for profit specific to the demographic that has been deemed unethical, immoral, and terrible for society's evolution of internet-based sex work opportunities, content creation, phone SEX, cyber SEX, meetups, things of that nature. The communicated purpose and intention for PATH was that in my compliance of the extortive sets of circumstances and the sets of circumstances communicated by my partner at that time, that if I was able to get through those 3 years, which I was, that following that I had built in promotions, in nightlife entertainment, in online marketing and social media management would be converted to a fitness, wellness, and healthy lifestyle following. That was the give and take of the agreement. We were to be married. He was to receive a large inheritance. We were to buy a house in the suburbs where my children and I and he would live safely. And that following would be converted to physical fitness in some way, shape, or form, dietary, wellness, maybe a convertible apparel brand that would be, something practical that could go from taking your child to school, as I did every morning and evening, to, and picking them up, to maybe you have a meeting in the middle of your day, to maybe you need to go to the gym for an hour in between that. And the clothing line was to be convertible in that regard. The understanding was that any harm or contribution to marketing this field, this internet-based, very, unaligned morally and ethically with my own standards. I believed in monogamy and had never been intimate with more than just my husband's and a couple of other people in my life at 28 years old. Now, the understanding was that in doing wellness, any negative impact that was created in gathering information and learning those fields as a mole, if you will, because those phone calls were referenced for business purpose, for strategy purpose, for logistics purpose. Not only was my suffering ignored, I was not compensated at all for those consultations. So people made money and continue to make money off of the knowledge and information that I was forced to learn without my consent, permission, or awareness in most sets of circumstances. Understanding that we have an ethical impact on the world, I was a big time promoter. And by big time, I mean I was having, for my small demographic of individuals that I was interacting with on a regular basis, I was having a huge amount of attention on my postings. That attention was mostly about the environment that I was working in. In an effort to remain ethically aligned, converting and having discussion about how if those industries were permitted to continue growing at the rate that they were growing, at the level of accessibility that they had, they would be deemed extremely predatory for our youth, for our young people, and for anyone living in the world who has a regular job or a monogamous relationship. The understanding over time with regards to the evolution of that field is that it has been extremely detrimental and damaging to a lot of different people, families, and lifestyles. To make up for that, ethics, morals, values, eating healthy, making more socially conscious, ethically conscious, dietary choices, the clothing line and personal training was to be developed on my original path. So those people who had been consuming the content would now be the demographic consuming the wellness, the health, all of that. I've never stopped working. I've always been working. That path was stolen from me, literally, after I was exploited upon the release of my partner publicly on a TV show and on many various social media platforms and other internet-based technological achievements. I have been working with many different efforts to create a bot system, an AI-driven bot system of addressing, it basically has the functionality to sweep the internet every 30 minutes or so for any mention of your brand, your business names, your legal name, any aliases or nicknames. And then after collecting your true life story, it has the ability to, of its own doing, make a response to any and all slanderous attempts at campaigning against an otherwise, nice, good person who is taking a change in path. So to go from the path that I was on, to make a break from that path of healthcare, it was easy for them. It was easy. They didn't even need to do much work. They threw me into a path and said, if you don't do this, we're detectives, authoritative individuals. If you don't do this, we're coming to your house and we're taking away your family from you. And that is legally what they said. And there is an entire internal affairs report about the interaction. So we didn't need any AI-driven bots for that campaign. It was very supported. It was very supported, and it was circulated widely. When it came time for them to deliver on their half of the promises, that I could go into health and wellness, that I could even the ethical impact that I had, what we learned about these industries and their long-term likelihood of destruction could be used in a way to create change for beneficial, positive, impact across all demographics. That information has not been associated to any sort of positive outcome for me. And quite the contrary, in fact, I was unlawfully removed from my home, my apartment, where I lived with my children and my partner, my husband, and I say air quotes because it seemed like to me the entire relationship was real, but on the other side, as soon as he was incentivized in any way with any sort of more positive or more desirable outcome for a separation, he was supported by the authority in doing so. And there was no follow-up with regards to what was fair, what was legal, and what was promised to me or my children. At that time in 2019, my children had to go live with their father and father's family members, and I was basically left to die outside with nowhere to go. I didn't have food. I didn't have money. I had to create several internet-based fundraising campaigns where I would literally share details of what was going on, asking people for donations, for assistance. Mind you, I'm a woman that doesn't have a criminal record at all, that has never had an addiction. I have had instances during that 3-year period, only during that 3-year period, when there was abuse of substance as a coping method to what I was being forced to engage in. I mean, could you imagine your mother, your child being forced to work and be human sex trafficked? Can you imagine that? And having authoritative, supposedly allies backing that effort, or ignoring it, or looking the other way, or supporting it, or paying for it, if we're keeping it real. Then, as I said, when it came time for the tables to turn and for me to stand back up on my feet, rather than giving me what I had earned, paying me what was owed, I was separated from my children and thrown into the street to die, while they circulated a narrative that I was unwell from a mental perspective and incapable of caring for myself or my children, which has never been the case. Keep in mind, I was working in renewable energy after I stopped, working in that environment. And renewable energy, I don't mean anything nefarious. I actually mean windmill farm sales, subscription of deregulated and renewable energy sales, clean energy sales, and solar power sales. And I was successful, and I was doing well, and I was making between $1,000 and $2,000 a week. My children lived with me full time throughout all of this, and it was not until I was thrown outside of my house in 2020, January of 2020 to be exact, that my children had to go live with their fathers. That was not by court action. The year now is 2026, and I was just able to stand back up after being held in a tent on cement at Belmont Harbor for 7 months during my pregnancy. Being separated from my child after he was born, I was able to stand back up only after being discharged from the hospital and having to go sleep on the side of the MCA. Museum of Contemporary Art, wrapped in a moving blanket with Xavier by my side. We could feel rats run over our backs in the nighttime. It was awful. We finally received a few weeks of assistance from the housing system in the form of shelter services. And at that time, it was promised that you do not lose your housing. After you are taken in, and your situation is identified and clearly communicated, you are matched with an apartment or house that meets your family's need. That never happened. We spent a few weeks in that situation, and then they put us out of that situation. We slept on the side of the MCA until I was able to begin working again at that social club, the Table Tennis Social Club. And I, with my checks, got us a room for rent. And paid for a room for rent for Xavier and I, purchased everything that I needed for our newborn baby, had everything prepared for him to come home, and was not permitted to continue that path. I stayed in a single room apartment setting, paying rent, despite all of the promises for reimbursement and support in continuing in the influencer path and making the conversion from, what it was to health and wellness and lifestyle parenting. It was supposed to include my children, all 4 of them. It was supposed to include sponsorships. It was supposed to include a safe place to live and create this content. And we were supposed to be producing content for the age groups of each of my children, respectively, as well as myself and Xavier. They never followed through with that. Every attempt that I have made to continue creating content that's positive, that's focused in that path, has been edited nefariously to make me look awful, I mean, awful, absolutely terrible. They have done terrible things with the editing of any and all of my content, or my actual device that I've been making content on has been subjected to external nefarious involvement. I've reported it to law enforcement, to the FBI, to those higher than those two agencies, and here on social media, thousands of times, no less. I've gone to private investment agencies. I've gone to defense lawyers. I've gone to independent advocacy agencies for survivors of human sex trafficking, survivors of human trafficking efforts, survivors of abuse. And despite all of that, there was no funding. I had to pay, the rent that we paid was $1,034 each month. And I paid it myself out of pocket from my paychecks, along with my car payment and my insurance and my cell phone bill. Despite the fact that we were promised room and board, and that it was communicated multiple times OTL that those rent payments were going to be held to the side and returned to me at the end of my 2-year lease so that I could use it as a down payment on a house elsewhere. Not a penny was given back to me. And 2 days ago, Xavier and I were forced to gather our belongings and leave my apartment despite having a legal lease agreement that lasts through May of 2027. And the very first night, I was not permitted to sleep at all. I had to sit there. I begged Xavier to please put his belongings at his father's house or in a storage facility. He has a bunch of bags of, I'm not quite sure what. Nothing that he accesses daily or, has any value. He doesn't even change his clothes each day. He wears pretty much the same 2 or 3 outfits. It's also worth mentioning that during that time is when he began to develop breast tissue and wear a dress for the first time in the 4 years we were together. I don't know why, and I still have not received any explanation. He says it's because of what's been going on with our child. Now, he switched back to shorts and a tank top a few days ago, and the very first night, so there have been 3 nights so far. Last night was the 3rd night. The very first night, I was not permitted to sleep at all. I was not permitted to work that entire day. I was held by this technological achievement referenced in the past as invisible fence. I have numerous bills that are due in the next 4 to 5 days. I also don't even have a complete wardrobe. I've been wearing the same leggings, 8 to maybe 12 or 13 pairs of leggings, and blazer with a rotation of the same 5 to 6 shirts since I got my apartment. Again, Xavier has not been permitted or able to earn any income this entire time. Under that understanding that room and board would be provided and all of these things that they promised, compliance to all of these other services that they deemed necessary that were not, but they were all done, they still did not follow up or fulfill room and board. I've paid out of pocket every single month, without exception. So the first night since all of that took place, and this has been deemed almost an exact copycat version with few, differences as what they already did to me when it was time for them to pay for everything they forced me to do. And I'm speechless about how to interpret this. So the first night, I had to just sit awake the entire night. The second night, I was permitted approximately 2 hours of sleep before we were woken up by several very nefarious, very unethical things taking place. So from about 2 in the morning to about 5 in the morning. And the third night, last night, I was permitted to sleep from about 2 in the morning until about 7 a.m. So in the last 3 days, I've had about 7 or 8 hours of sleep. I and Xavier work together every day to make deliveries. Specifically, we protect each other from these allegations that have been made deceptively in an effort to continue a deceptive, malicious narrative about my identity and reputation. The narratives that have been being circulated locally have included but not been limited to the idea that Xavier and I have been working in some sort of illicit forum, the idea that Xavier and I have been circulating unlawful items rather than food deliveries or Sephora or Home Depot deliveries. Having us both together in those circumstances allows us to both say, no, we were working from this time to this time. None of that took place. In the absence of Xavier being here with me while I go to work, I only have the experience one-sided to myself that in the past has been used to cause Xavier to literally go crazy when they tap into him and start telling him Heather is being intimate with other men. Heather has a side girlfriend or boyfriend. I'm not a lesbian, never have been, have no interest in being so, and I've never cheated on Xavier. When I met Xavier, I didn't even have desire to be in a relationship at all. He presented to me, as you all know, that his brother worked for the regional district attorney's office and that what I had been through and communicated on YouTube and all of the social media channels was understood and known to be unlawful, and that solutions were underway, and that I was going to go with him and receive access to this safe living situation where my children and I could live and grow and build ethically and morally and consciously. And when that did not happen, Xavier and I stayed together anyway. And the first 2 years that I suffered by myself with no stable home were followed by two more years that Xavier and I would spend together with no stable home. Throughout that time, we didn't go to nightclubs. We didn't engage in drug use. We didn't engage in alcohol use. We might have had a beverage of alcohol maybe 6 or 7 times total in the entire 4-year period that we've been together. Pot was the worst of what we ever did, and that was not in recreation. That was in suffering, pain, having to sleep on concrete while pregnant, and having to sleep on concrete while having contractions, and being denied health care, and being blatantly locked out of housing. It was promised on and off the line a number of times that there would no longer be permittable circumstances that caused Xavier and I to be without a safe, stable living situation. I have perceived that on the line takeovers with regards to Xavier, they've taken a phone that was not even his and a tablet that was not even his and accessed adult content websites to, quote, keep him in. Therefore, resulting in the decision that was allegedly made to end the room and board. I did nothing wrong. I haven't consumed any adult-themed content. My higher power doesn't even like me to listen to music, watch movies, nothing. I would say there is a significant amount of trauma that I still have if I hear a song or, loud music. My ribs are showing. My budget is lacking. My bills are due. I've been compliant to every demand. I've participated thoughtfully and fairly and given insight and intellectual understanding and advocacy of all people in all socioeconomic classes, all demographics, backgrounds, and understandings, including but not limited to myself and my children. And still, despite the fact that I have been working, when I worked Uber, I was doing 12 to 14-hour shifts every single day. When I first started food deliveries, I was doing the same. I would say 9 to 12 hours a day, every single day. When I began this platform about 3 months ago, I became aware that the higher authority was aware that I was working 12 to 14 hours a day, but that the authority at this level was attempting to destroy the evidence of that so that they would be deemed more deserving of the cushier apartment and the larger budget, etc., and so forth. I went through all of this compliant, doing every single thing I could at all times, being under pressure on average maybe 75% of my awake hours. Literally. And this is not new pressure. They're not coming to me saying, are you involved in this? Are you involved in that? They know without a doubt I'm not. They're coming to me asking me about the period of 2016 to 2019. Over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I have clarified and given context and insight as many times as I've been demanded to. Furthermore, they've been using extraction and deceptive reading. So you could not lie if you wanted to in the majority of these lines of questioning. Now they have Xavier engaged in some sort of invisible fucking fence, as I've described to you in the past. If you know, you know. And if you know, please hear me. And we have work to do. I need to deliver my deliveries. I need to do the work that I need to do. All the cars have been getting by without a problem. And so this effort over the last 3 days to keep me, again, displaced seems to be in direct conjunction and coordination with many other various malicious efforts and attempts. I did everything I could, understanding also that at my apartment, there was a team that was permitted to come into my lobby and continue spreading nefarious, slanderous lies, fill my lobby with huge moving boxes of inappropriate adult-themed content that I, at the end of a 14-hour or 12-hour work shift, would have to come home, pick up, and move to a dumpster because they would be stacked so high all over the lobby. They would address me as GoPro Solo Hobo, Heather Gillespie, in reference to the brand that I originally developed, GoPro Solo, with regards to the content that I was selling from 2016 to 2019. There has been no action, to my knowledge, taken against those individuals who have continued to stalk me as recently as 3 or 4 months ago in my apartment on Granville. I have not received any direct communication other than OTL communication from any law enforcement agency or the FBI, etc. And solutions other than room and board and compensation being promised have never been communicated or fulfilled. I remain separated from my 4 children, despite the fact that it's very clear, it's very evident that in my own energy, under my own free will and guidance, look, all those lines, they're not here, and I'm able to speak and articulate, and I'm not confused and freaked out like I was this morning. What a coincidence. With knowing all of that, I am very confused as to how it has been engineered and constructed that Xavier will be visible fenced to the porch of a school, sleeping all day in the heat, exposed to whoever, the general public, that various unknown individuals will come and bring him meals while I don't get to eat. This is my husband, the father of our 2.5-year-old child. And I will have to watch him eat. And then he's not going to be permitted to get into the vehicle and come to work or work on his art and sales or develop or enhance any of his skill sets for the purpose of making a profit to support our family. I don't really know what else to say. I don't really know how to address the situation any further, and I'm not quite sure what solutions should look like. But I can tell you that there are numerous groups. Most of the groups that come around here do not pay rent. They choose an apartment through some sort of internal communication, and most of the time they're very nice and well furnished. They don't bring with furniture. They don't even bring with clothing sometimes. These places will be furnished with clothing, furniture, food, and they will go in there and then they'll travel all around and live rent-free. While Xavier and I are dog-walked, invisible fenced, exploited, working obscene amounts of hours for less than the federal minimum wage. The solution to this, as I've stated so eloquently in the past, is to permit and fund an effort to seek truth, expose truth after a reasonable, ethical investigation has been performed by multiple third parties and a reasonable understanding that is tactful, graceful, and truth is created in circulation to any slanderous, falsely perpetrated narratives. And once that's done, that's when classification, as they've referred to it, can and should begin. Not before. Not before. You cannot classify individuals who you don't have an accurate understanding of. And in that understanding, once an individual is classified for the purpose of advocating for them to have safe, stable, ethical housing within their family and demographic of like-minded, similar thinking individuals with similar expectations with regards to what's permitted, what's not permitted, what's enjoyable, what's not enjoyable, what have you, then you move everyone into their space. How is it possible that I'm alive in this demographic and we are one of the very few who don't have a space? I haven't committed any crimes. I haven't done anything unethical. My rib cage is exposed. You could see my ribs protruding from my side. I weigh approximately 123 pounds at 5'9" on my flat feet without any, shoes on. I'm thin, and it's not because I'm not hungry. I'm purposefully, kind of curbing my appetite so that one meal will be sufficient most days. But I think at least two meals. And by one meal, I don't mean a $6 meal every day or a Taco Bell every day. I mean a salad, some rice, a lean protein. I've discussed this at the beginning of this communication, and that's not being permitted. So, but then you have Xavier, as I said, being given, they are bringing him stacks of pizzas, burgers, fries, and he's, and then they're encouraging him to become active in the nightlife. In the nightlife, not just in the nightlife, but in the nightlife of same-gendered couples. Does that sound like a plan that supports the reunification of our family to a traditional gender role monogamy, as we've communicated? The system promised Xavier and I directly to our faces. Xavier asked a question and was responded by the highest authority in this specific instance. So there's definitely a higher authority than this person, but this specific person, who is the highest authority in the room, will say, looked to Xavier and said, this institution is not in support of destroying families. Reunification is the goal. And then that was followed up with a number of other behaviors that would not necessarily align with that goal, right? So for Xavier and I to have a marriage or a relationship that's based in monogamy and have longevity within those roles, how on earth would it be deemed acceptable that he sleeps all day while I work all day, come and pick him up, only to drive behind him at the speed of 2 to 3 miles per hour while he wheels a bunch of miscellaneous perceived garbage that he doesn't even access up and down the street and stands outside of area nightclubs and bars until 2 or 3 in the morning? Does that sound like something that either myself or Xavier would voluntarily want to engage in? It's not. I promise you it's not. And then furthermore, coming to park at 2 or 3 in the morning and being woken up with the sun between 5 and 7 a.m. So I'm supposed to function on 3 to 5 hours of sleep each night? I don't understand. And then Xavier sleeps in the heat, exposed throughout the daytime. What is going on here? you know? So anyways, I have done everything, that any human being could rationally do. I also want to put on the record again one more time. And by one more time, I don't mean let's go through all of the predatory behaviors and do demonstrations of them again. That's not at all what I mean. We've already deemed that it's unethical, unreasonable, and even detrimental to continue to force human beings to behave as models for understanding of other human beings. AI avatars, not humans running an AI agent, AI avatars can be used with verbal commands on any phone to create compelling videos that also support understanding within demographics that don't have it. You don't continue to harm any individual and say, oh, well, they're the model of this. Yeah, they're stable. They've just gone through actual hell, but we'd like to show you a reenactment of what it looks like to be domestically abused. What? That is what's been going on. All sorts of predatory things, as I was promised, non-predatory environments only, have been being dog walked through actual human bodies for the purpose of creating a demonstration to any other demographic. And the human body, they don't have any say-so. They don't get to sign themselves up for what they believe would be a good modeling experience. So I'm concerned. I'm very concerned. And, within that concern also comes a specific amount of comprehension of solutions, logistical follow through, start to finish mental models of these solutions, and fear or perceived unwillingness for the people who shook the deal hand and said, if you X, then we will Y. There's no hand anymore, but we've already shaken it. So what do we do now? If I've followed up on my end of the bargain, where is the reciprocity? And what is the long-term plan? And that's kind of just where I'm at right now. So I'm very concerned, very, very, very concerned. I attempted to move my demographic to another region. I was blatantly ignored. I don't really know what to do next. I do know that sleeping on the side of the road is not an acceptable option for me or for anyone. And I also know that there are numerous demographics that do not have a single person within their line that is subjected to that sort of treatment. So I hope that this video will get to someone who can invest what has it been now, 30 minutes? The 30 minutes of explanation that I've just provided in an effort to create really ethical solutions for all, because I'm not quite sure, how much more of this my body will be able to withstand. I'm in my 4th decade of life next year, I'm not a baby girl. I'm a grown-up. I have 4 babies. I would say a confident 70% of my graduating class is already living in their second home, if not have purchased a condo or a house. I haven't even been able to buy any property. I haven't been even approved for a single credit card. I got one $300 credit card approval, not the Apple store, not the Amazon store, no one. I got one single Citibank $300 credit card approval while I was living at the apartment on Granville, and someone stole it and used every single penny and never paid it back, despite the fact that the authority promised 1,000% that they would reimburse that money. So that's where I'm at. I need some new opportunities for money here, and I need them to come in coordination with the morals and values and ethics that I have and the wage that I deserve, that I've worked for, that I've invested in. We're not even talking about what would it look like from the perspective of a civil lawsuit to weigh out liability and put a dollar amount on that. Scratch all of that. We're not even talking about that. Just with regards, say I never went through any of that predatory unlawfulness. Say it was just a matter of, what have I gone to school for? What have I proven in previous jobs? What consistency and level of education do I have within those industries? What level of willingness do I have to learn new industries and ability? While going through all of this, I began learning AI models and learning language models and things of that nature, and was able to pick up on these concepts pretty easily, pretty quickly. So there is no limitation of path from where I'm sitting. From where I am sitting, there are many paths that should be right here at my feet, waiting for me to say, I choose you. But instead, this is what's going on, and I am not, when I say paths at my feet, saying which one is for you, you choose. I'm not saying random third-party men who I don't even know saying, oh, well, if you separate from your husband, you can come and sleep on my sofa for a few weeks, and then maybe if you decide to engage in sex with me, I'll let you stay a little longer. I don't want that shit. At all. Never have. If someone wants to partner or invest or teach or mentor in a non-predatory environment, I am all in. But this has been, my body is just tired, is where I'm at. And from an emotional perspective, throughout the course of my life, I have given far more love than I have been able to receive. And so I'm functioning, as I've been for quite some time, in a deficit. And I would like, as I said before, maybe an in to healthcare consulting, maybe an in to real estate development, maybe an in to something as focused as universal basic income modeling, instruction, independent fundraising for, etc. and so forth. There are technology I'm interested in. I'm interested in cars. I'm interested in, promotions with regards to new and exciting ideas and causes. I'm interested in all of these things, but I'm more and mostly and 1000% dedicated to safe, stable housing and never having to be used in this way again. I should not be someone's demonstration. Xavier should not be laying on a sidewalk sleeping all day and then walking around, while I follow him with the vehicle with all of his worldly belongings. This is ridiculous. It's obscene. Even if this was going to be the circumstances that we had to be here for a few weeks for whatever reason, we should be permitted to continue working every single day as we have for the last 5, 6, 7 months together, making deliveries while he pours into the art theme, the sales theme, what have you, from the vehicle. It is helpful for me to have him here. We need to behave in a way that the first priority is for the overall benefit of our family, our child. And the situation we're in that I'm not able to elaborate on with regards to our child is a very pressing set of circumstances. It continues to be overlooked in ways that I do not understand. We need help. We need a higher authority to look at this entire situation, beginning with 2016, the original sentencing of Dylan Smith, inmate number Y12173, with State's Attorney Wayne Jakowski in the Skokie Courthouse. And we need someone, truth seekers, truth finders, truth sharers, to give an unbiased, truthful 360-degree perspective and understanding for any sort of desirable outcomes to be permitted. So anyways, that's what's going on here, and I hope you guys have a great day. And thanks again.